So, dear friends, thank you very much for coming. We are very happy to have Nina Kossman today with us. I should tell a few words that she had recently a few events, and also she had a very successful exhibition at memoir. So all of us, we saw her paintings on Facebook, and my congratulations with the exhibition. It's really very interesting. Also, of course, congratulations with new books. I know that some have to come. Not like
two books are a little delayed.
Are coming. So, just a few words, very, very short. That Nina Kossman is a writer, poet, translator of Russian poetry, painter, and playwright. And among her published works are, it's so funny, 3 books of poetry in English, 2 collections of poetry in Russian, 2 volumes of translation of Tsvetaeva poems, a memoir about what period of your life?
About my childhood in the Soviet Union.
Very interesting. 2 collections of short stories. And anthology she edited for Oxford University Press, and a novel. And her work have been translated into Greek, French, Spanish, Italian, Hebrew, Japanese, Chinese, Persian, and Dutch.
From English.
From English.
Yeah,
from English.
These translations are of the stuff that I wrote in English.
Everything in English.
No, I mean
not this stuff.
What was translated?
It
was translated from English.
Okay, we understand. Everything which was translated into English. And okay, so today she will introduce her new book of poems, Gods of Unfinished Business. Here it is. And also book in Russian, Оправдание, мартышки, the monkey excuse, or something like that, if you will translate. And I forget to introduce myself because some people are for the first time here. My name is Regina Hideto, and I'm an art historian also, many titles like curator, writer, whatever it is, and also a founding director of the Russian American Cultural Center and of the Archidical Society. So you can see a lot of stuff on the internet about myself and about my work. And so, Nina Kossman.
Спасибо. Окей. Я могу читать на русском или на английском. Вот рассказы в этой книге. Обычно я читаю стихи просто потому, что мне кажется, стихи легче воспринимать, легче читать вслух и легче воспринимать на слух. Хотя я не воспринимаю стихи, ни прозу на слух. Но многие воспринимают. А рассказы, прозу, по-моему, труднее воспринимать на слух. Но, с другой стороны, я попробую все-таки почитать прозу и посмотрим, как. Еще я хочу сказать, что вот обычно, когда у меня вот чтение, я читаю, чтобы людям было легче как бы слушать, потому что не всегда легко слушать прозу. Я часто читаю рассказы из моей книги о преподавании в мусульманской школе в Нью-Йорке. И там это очень смешные рассказы о детях. Так что, может быть, я прочитаю несколько рассказов. Я думаю, я начну с короткой пьесы, которая вошла в это Women Playwrights Best Plays of 2000. Я с тех пор ее изменила, эту пьесу, но она ставилась во многих театрах, она в Австралии ее ставили. Мне за это почти не платили, я получала несколько $. Меня даже часто не уведомляли о том, когда ее ставили. В Лондоне ее ставили и так далее. Это о 2 девочках. Сначала вот эти девочки, эти дети были у меня, я дала им русские имена, там Маша и Оля, а потом я переделала их имена на такие, Луз и Анна, чтобы они были как бы из Кубы, потому что, Советский Союз слишком далек для многим американцам, а вот Куба как-то еще коммунистическая, поэтому... Окей, это короткая пьеса. Значит, 2 маленьких девочки. In the beginning of the play, both Anna and Luz are in the same Cuban or Soviet, let's say Soviet because I wrote it about the Soviet Union, but then I changed it to Cuba, part of the room. Anna is sitting at the table in front of a plate with an unfinished meal. Luz is standing next to her. If I'm reading not very clearly, let me know. So they're talking. It's a conversation. It's a play. So I will change my voice to make it sound like a children's voice, but just so you know, two little girls are talking. Finish what's on your plate. Don't want to. You must. Who said? Mama said. What will she do? What will she do if what? If I don't? What will she do if I don't finish? She'll spank you. No, she won't. No, she won't. She won't spank me. She never spanks me. You're the one she spanks. No, she doesn't. I'm the oldest. When Mama isn't here, I get to be Mama. Finish what's on your plate. What if I don't? You've got to eat. If you don't eat, you won't get big. That's not how she says it. Yes, it is. Yes, it is how she says it. Is not, is to, is not, is. I don't want to play this game. It's a stupid game, and I don't want to play it. It's not a game. It's for real. She wants you to eat your food because you got to be big for real. If you don't get big, nobody will see you. You may be right there with all the rest of them, but they won't see you. They won't even think you're a person. They'll just think you are, I don't want to be a person. I like being me. What's so great about being a person? I'll be a person because I eat what they give me. I don't want to be that kind of person. I want to be the kind of person that eats what she wants. You won't get to be that kind of person because you won't grow. Is the world made up of people who eat what they don't want to? Spit out that gum. It's not done yet. It doesn't matter. There's still some sweet in it. It doesn't matter. I want to chew till the sweet is gone. If you don't spit it, you'll get blown up. Who said? I said. What do you know? You don't even have some gum. You're just jealous, that's all. I'm not jealous. I'm a teacher. No, you're not. You're a girl. You're a girl just like me. You're my sister. When the teacher isn't here, I get to be teacher. No, you're not. You're not her. You're you. Spit out your gum or you'll be blown to pieces. How come I didn't get blown up yet? It takes time. It may be a slow bomb. In some candy, they put a slow bomb. Who? Foreigners. Why do they put a bomb in candy? I told you lots of times. Tell me again. Sorry, I got the voices mixed up. Tell me again. Tell you what? Why do they put a bomb in candy? Because they're foreigners. What's that mean? They're not like us. So what? Because they hate us. But why do they hate us? Why do they hate us? Because they're not like us. They want to be like us, but they can't. Why? You'll know when you go to school. Why do they hate us? Because we are not foreigners. We are us. I'm not us. I'm me. When you go to school, they'll tell you that you're us. But why do foreigners hate us? Because they're capitalists. So it's a conversation about two girls in the Soviet Union, right? It's from my childhood. So that's why talking about capital.
What time? 70s, 80s?
It doesn't matter. It was all the same. 60s, 70s, talk about capitalists. It didn't change. Okay. When you go to school, they'll tell you that you are us. But why do foreigners hate us? Because they're capitalists. What's that mean? They're capitalists. They only think about themselves. They're thinking about us. They're thinking about us when they put bombs in the candy. Ha ha, got you. Because my teacher used to tell us not to take candy from foreigners because foreigners put little bombs in the candy.
It's especially after the war.
No, it was in my childhood.
Not in the 60s.
Yeah, in the 60s, yes. In the late 60s, yes. I started in the late 60s, yes. Not funny. Is to, is not, is to, is not. Anyway, this isn't candy, this is gum. So what? They can't put a bomb in gum. You chew right through it. They have special bombs. They feel like gum. But then 3 days later, it's not true. It's true. I don't want to play this game. I know someone who got blown up. Do not. Do to. I say I don't want to play that. I know someone who chewed American gum. Who? A girl. What girl? A girl from my class. She chewed American gum and got blown to pieces. How many pieces? Doesn't matter. Does not. I said I don't want to play that game. I said. You started it. What's her name? She doesn't have a name. She's dead. What was her name then? It's gone. Your name goes away when you die. Not my name. Yours too. I'll always be me, even when I die. No, you won't. Not when you die, you won't. How do you know? You're not me. I know because I go to school. So what? They tell us things. How do they know? They're not you. That's stupid. But how do they know about you? They're not you. Because they're teachers. They know. I don't know if it's clear when one talks, another talks. One is older, goes to school, and another doesn't go to school yet. They know about them. They don't know about you. When you're grown up, you don't know about you. You know about other people. I don't want to be that kind of grown up. I want to know about me. You're a capitalist. I'm not. I too don't want to play this game, I said. You're a capitalist, because capitalists only think about themselves. They don't care about others. So what? You'll never get to see Mama again. Mama won't send me away. Yes, she will. No, she won't. I know. She won't want to, but she'll have to. How do you know? Because that's what they tell us in school. If you're bad, they send you away to America. I won't go. You'll have to. I won't go. You will. In a little package? What? They send you to America in a little package? It's not a package, fool. It's a box. Looks like a shoebox, only bigger. Maybe it's a coffin. It's not a coffin, it's a box. I don't want to sit in a shoebox. I won't have any air. They make special holes for you so you can breathe until you get there. And then what? What? What happens when you get there? They take you out of the box and take you to a factory with lots of other kids. And then what? What? Then what they do? They make you work. That's what, stupid. They make a slave out of you. Not out of me. You're not so special. Yes, I am. If they want to make you into a slave, they will. I won't let them. I'll run away. Can't run away from America. Yes, I can. I can run back home. Can't run away from America, stupid. America is in the middle of a sea. I can't swim it. No, you can't. You don't know how to. I'll learn. You'll drown. You'll drown and Mama won't even know where you are. I'll dig a tunnel. Can't dig a tunnel from America to here. It's too far. So what? I'll dig it all my life until I'm big like Mama or your teacher. You won't get to be that big. They won't give you enough food. So what? Can't grow without food. I hate this food anyway. In America, it's even worse. Who said? I just know. They never sent you there. How do you know? I just know. They never sent your teacher to America. How would she know? She knows. Does not. Does too. Don't want to play this game, I said. Maybe I want to go to America. Maybe it's not so bad being a slave if they let you chew gum there. they won't let you chew it there. They send it from there to here, so you chew it here and get blown up. And maybe over there they make good gum without a little bomb inside, so their own kids don't get blown to pieces. No, there's no good gum. Yes, there is. You're starting it. What? You're starting it. You're starting it, and then you say you don't want to play this game. Am not? Aren't you? You're the one starting it now. Wasn't me. Was you. I wish we had a box. What for? To put me in. We don't have it yet. Mama will bring it from a store. Let's pretend. Let's pretend we're putting me in the box. Okay, you go in. So Anna lies down in the middle of the room. It's a stage. It's a play, right? And the stage should be divided into two parts. One is Russia, Soviet, and one is America. So, and between them is a border. So Anna lies down in the middle of the room, right on the border between the Soviet and American part, right? She brings her knees up to her chin and wraps her arms around her legs. You in the box yet? Yeah. Can't talk if you're in the box. You still there? Okay. I'm sending you off to America. She bends down as though to lift the box, then stands with her arms outstretched as if carrying something heavy. Hold on, hold on. Anna, the little one, is still crouching, as if she's in a box. Are you sending me by ship? You're not supposed to talk. You're in the box. Are you sending me by ship? By truck, by ship, and by airplane. All right. So the older girl pushes the imaginary box away from herself into the other American half of the room, because it's a stage, right? There you go. That's where you go if you want to chew gum. And when do I get to America? Wait 5 minutes. I see it. I see America. You can't see it. You're in the box. I see it through the little holes in the box. The little holes are for air, you stupid. They're for seeing too. That's not right. That's not how you sit in the box. That's how I sit in the box. The little sister twists her body out of the imaginary box and stands up in the American side of the stage. Hello, hello. Anna is waving and blowing kisses. I see them. I see capitalists and foreigners. Hello. You're not supposed to like them. They're giving me whole bags of full of chewing gum, every kind of flavor, strawberry, lemon, chocolate. You're not supposed to take them. You're supposed to say no. Gum is a capitalist thing. Anna pretends to be chewing. The whole thing is pretend. They're just playing. Chewing gum. So the little sister is chewing gum even more passionately than before. That's not what they say. They lie a lot because they're foreigners. You're supposed to say no. I don't want to say no. Get back in the box. Why? They're sending you back, that's why. That's not why, it's because you want me to go back. Mama wants to see you. Don't you miss Mama? Sure, I miss Mama, but I don't want to get back in that box. And there's no box, actually, so pretend. Well, you will. No, I won't. I'm putting you back in. The older girl lifts an imaginary box and puts it down near the younger sister. Get in. I won't. I said get in. I'm staying where I am. I like it here. I couldn't breathe in the box. You had the little holes for air. Not enough air. I need more. So she makes loud breathing noises. But what will I tell Mama? It's me she'll be angry with when she comes home and doesn't see you. You can come here too, you know. I'm not a traitor. What's a traitor? Somebody who leaves our country like you. I didn't leave. You sent me away in a box. So I'm not a traitor. What about Mama? She can come here too. This box is too small for Mama. It's not. It stretches. Anyway, she won't because she's a mama. Mamas don't go into boxes. Oh, I like gum. So stay there all by yourself. Stay there for good with your gum. You shouldn't have let me chew it there. What will I do now, all by myself here in America? It's your own fault. That's the older one saying. So the older sister leaves, and the younger sister is left alone on the stage. She looks lost at first, as though she can't understand how it all came about. How come she's all alone? She kneels down, picks up one of Anna's toys, one of the other girl's toys from the floor. And she says quietly, as though mumbling to herself, "They'll send you to a factory. They'll make a slave out of you." So that's the end of the play. So I just wanted to, through a very simple children's game to show, I don't like speaking about politics directly, the way many people do. They like to speak about politics, but I don't want to speak about politics directly. I think I prefer to show it through indirectly by unlikely characters such as little children, Now I think I'll read a story. Maybe I'll read the poem. I'll read a poem from this book. I have too much to choose from. I just want to vary so people don't get bored, So I'll read one of the poems from here and then I'll see. Okay, this is Life Cycle of a Butterfly. Fortunate one, born 2 days ago, you have 12 more days to live, a whole eternity, depending on how you think about it. But you don't think this way or that. All you do is flap your pretty wings. Newborn butterfly, you circle my lilac tree. It too has only 1 month to bloom. You don't worry about mortality, nor stay in your room to guard yourself from the flu. You're happy to be alive this moment because this moment is life, and that's all that matters. Fortunate one, born 2 days ago, you have no memories of being a helpless cocoon. Why can't we be like you, beautiful butterfly? Why can't we flap our wings and be thoughtless like you? I wrote this poem during COVID when everyone was staying inside. So this is about this, butterflies were not afraid to catch COVID. I might read from this book later, but now I will read a story. I could read it either in Russian. I guess I'll read it in Russian, right? I have it in both English and Russian. In English, it was published in this magazine, Columbia, a while ago. And in Russian, it was published at first, before it was in this book. It was published in a magazine in Russia called Homo Legends. It doesn't exist anymore. It's closed, but it was a very good magazine. I only became aware of magazines in Russia quite late, like in 2017, because I was not, I didn't, I was very busy for the first 10 years of the century, in the first 15 years of the century. My parents were very old and sick, and I was very busy taking care of them. And I didn't even know what was going, that everything, that people were publishing things online. I didn't even know. I thought everything was still books, because I was so out of touch, because I was so immersed in what was going on with my parents, They were very old. So why am I saying this is because only in 2017 I realized there are magazines in Russia and that you can set in Russia before this war, and that you can send stuff to them by email, you know? And that's when I started sending my stuff to Russia. Pretty late, but anyway. Although I had a book published in Russia in 1990, моя первая книга стихов по-русски была опубликована в издательстве «Художественная литература». Вот эта книжка. Я была здесь, но книжка была... Они собирались готовить какую-то серию мигрантских писателей, но потом много событий произошло, политических. Это был последний фактически, это было в самом конце 1990 года, почти самый конец Советского Союза, так что было как-то не до этого, но книжка вышла. Я прочитаю рассказ о том, как моя мама, когда она была совсем молодая, юная девушка, как она ездила навестить свою маму, мою бабушку в ГУЛАГе. Это основано на том, что мне мама рассказала. Она вообще была очень молчаливая. Мои родители очень мало говорили о всех этих событиях, но только один раз, когда мне было лет 19, она об этом рассказала. И, кстати, ей очень не понравилось, что я об этом написала. Она считала, что это как бы об этом не нужно писать. Но я написала. Okay. Этот рассказ, это не только о моей... Вы видите, он как бы и в настоящем в Америке, и о поездке моей мамы в ГУЛАГ в самом начале, то есть это было в феврале 1941 года, за полгода до 22 июня, до того, как началась война, за полгода до войны. Однажды я показала один из моих рассказов своей так называемой свекрови. Я говорю так называемой, потому что я давно ее уже не видела и, скорее всего, больше никогда не увижу. Раньше мы каждый год приезжали к ней в Чикаго на Рождество, а теперь у меня даже раз в год нет повода так далеко ехать. В тот день мы сидели в гостиной ее большого загородного дома, и она, как обычно, заполняла пространство вежливой болтовней, small talk. Только этот вид разговора был дозволен в ее присутствии. Уж не помню, о чем мы говорили, но на какой-то стадии small talk она спросила меня, что я сейчас пишу, и я сказала, что один из моих рассказов был только что опубликован в английском журнале. Она попросила показать ей рассказ и прибавила, что вот уже 2-й месяц она ходит в creative writing workshop для пенсионерок, и ей хотелось бы показать журнал с моим рассказом в этом воркшопе, чтобы похвастаться. Она так и сказала, чтобы похвастаться. «Окей», — сказала я, и дала ей распечатку рассказа. Так как рассказ был довольно короткий, около 4 или 5 страниц, она его прочитала в тот же вечер. Рассказ назывался «Весна 1941 года». И был он о том, как моя мама поехала из Москвы в лагерь, где сидела моя бабушка, арестованная через месяц после расстрела моего деда в декабре 1937 года. Моя мама рассказала мне об этом, когда мне было 19 лет. Она говорила со мной об этом только раз в жизни. Но я запомнила, как она стояла по колено в снегу в указанном ей месте, там, где ей разрешено было стоять и ждать разрешения ее, и ждать возвращения ее мамы. You don't, I think you're the one who doesn't understand Russian, right? So maybe I should read in English. I have this in English. Понятно? Да? Okay. Oh, that's good. I didn't expect it. Это из рассказа. То, что я буду читать, это из рассказа. Это как бы рассказ в рассказе. Она увидела колонну женщин, медленно продвигающиеся к баракам, туда, где она стояла в ожидании мамы. Женщины ее еще не видели. Когда они подошли ближе, Майя увидела, что колонна окружена охранниками, что в одной руке у каждого охранника поводок, что на поводке собака, что в другой руке охранника винтовка. Женщины двигались неровно, то приближаясь, то отдаляясь, но теперь они были ближе, и уже были видны тряпки, в которые они были укутаны, то ли вместо, то ли поверх тулупов. Майя могла различить их лица жен советских ученых и художников. Казалось, вся женская советская элита возвращалась в барак после трудового дня. Одна из женщин в начале колонны увидела Майю, и изо рта этой незнакомой женщины вырвался крик. Теперь другие тоже видели Майю. Они смотрели на нее, и она на них. Ее глаза искали маму, но мамы там не было. Одна женщина произнесла ее имя, произнесла и упала. Вся колонна замедлила ход, потому что идущие за упавшей женщиной не могли двигаться вперед. «Майя, Маечка!» – кричали женщины. «Мещанская, 25, квартира 11. Передай моему сыну, Мите Боткину, что я еще жива. Свяжись...» Это разные женщины говорят. «Свяжись с моим братом, Сашей, улица Горького, 51. Скажи, что ты меня видела. Скажи моей дочери, Сивцев-Вражек, 21. Скажи моей Маечка». Майя хотела подбежать к женщинам, но послышался лай собак. К колонне бросились два охранника, а потом ей больше ничего не было видно, потому что ее глаза превратились в воду, и вода текла из глаз по лицу. Она побежала, спотыкаясь и падая в снег, и снова поднимаясь. Она бежала к колонне женщин, чтобы не пропустить ни слова. «Петровка, 33! Скажи ей, что я все еще...» Но потом она упала и не могла подняться. И лежа в снегу, она слышала их голоса, слышала, как они говорили друг другу. «Она упала! Она упала!» И эти два слова переходили от женщины к женщине, повторяясь и удлиняясь, как эхо. И ей еще долго слышалось, как одна женщина говорит другой: «Она упала! Она упала!» Когда она пришла в себя, колонны уже не было. Она превратилась в темное облако, становившееся все меньше и меньше. Была ли ее мама среди тех женщин? Может, та женщина, которая первой произнесла ее имя, и была ее мама? Та, что упала в снег. «Как там холодно!» – вежливо сказала моя американская свекровь, прочитав рассказ. Я промолчала, так как мне нечего было на это сказать. «Так она что-нибудь потом сделала со своими зубами?» – спросила моя свекровь вежливо, но немного брезгливо. «Что?» – сказала я. «У вас там дантисты были? Вылечили твои бабушки зубы?» Она имела в виду отрывок из моего рассказа, в котором мама и бабушка наконец встречаются и проводят вместе несколько часов. Вот сейчас будет небольшой отрывок опять из рассказа. Охранник отвел ее в крошечную хату, велел ей войти и ушел. Внутри было пусто, ни кровати, ни стульев, ничего, пустая комната. У стены стояла худая женщина. «Маечка», — сказала женщина. Ее голос был не похож на голос мамы. Скорее, он был похож на голос той женщины, которая упала в снег. Это была ее мама, превращенная в первую женщину, позвавшую ее по имени и упавшую в снег. В тот момент, когда собаки начали лаять, и охранники побежали с винтовками наперевес. Ее мама превратилась в скелет. И Майя обняла этот скелет. И они обе стояли и плакали. 17-летняя дочь и 50-летняя мама, лучшая ученица в 10 Б и бывший микробиолог. Майя вынула сверток из рюкзака. Она хотела, чтобы мама взяла его с собой в барак, но мама настояла, чтобы они ели его содержимое вместе, в честь их короткого свидания. Так у них получился небольшой праздник на холодном полу. Маме было трудно жевать. Из-за цинги у нее почти не осталось передних зубов. И теперь мы снова возвращаемся в современную Америку. «Так у вас там дантисты были? Вылечили твоей бабушке зубы?» Этот разговор был на английском. «Дантисты?» – переспросила я, так как не знала, как ответить моей свекрови. Когда я родилась, бабушка была уже очень старая. Она никогда не рассказывала о своих годах в лагере, и я не обращала внимания на ее зубы. Хотя, когда мне было лет 5, я заметила, что по вечерам она вынимает изо рта зубные протезы, а по утрам вставляет их обратно. Еще час назад, до прочтения рассказа, моя свекровь говорила, как она с гордостью покажет мой рассказ своим друзьям и коллегам в Creative Writing Workshop. Но выпавшие от лагерной цинги зубы моей бабушки все испортили. Они превратили мой рассказ, которым моей свекрови очень хотелось гордиться, в нечто такое, чем гордиться было неудобно, даже трудно. Я сидела и думала, как это так получилось, что мою бабушку, которой давно уже нет в живых, и которая провела 5 лет в лагере для жен врагов народов, обсуждают ироничным тоном в гостиной моей свекрови, элегантной дамы, которая гордится своим просторным домом в богатом районе Чикаго, и которой мне совсем не хочется рассказывать о жизни зэка в ГУЛАГе, чтобы объяснить цингу и выпавшие бабушкины зубы, и то, как моя бабушка вернулась к своей профессии – микробиологии по выходе из лагеря, несмотря на то, что ей запрещено было жить в Москве. Объяснить все это моей свекрови было невозможно, но этому ироничному тону, которым моя свекровь говорит о зубах моей бабушки, следовало положить конец. И конец этому должна положить я, так как я, хоть и непреднамеренно, положила всему этому начало своим рассказом. Мой рассказ лежал на журнальном столике под коробкой, завернутой в золотую фольгу бельгийских шоколадок. Тема беседы переместилась с моей бабушки на общую тему голода и нищеты. И старший брат моего мужа, бывшего мужа, с обычной для него гордостью сказал, что он никогда в жизни не испытывал голода, потому что он человек работающий. Работающий человек в Америке не голодает. Это урок, которому учит жизнь. Если, конечно, вы из тех людей, которые учатся на уроках жизни. Я приподняла коробку бельгийских шоколадок, вынула из-под нее свой рассказ. Сняла его с элегантного журнального столика, унесла его из элегантной гостиной, из элегантного дома, подальше от моей американской свекрови и ее сыновей, которые никогда не будут голодать, потому что, видите ли, в этом мире только ленивые голодают. А моя свекровь и ее сыновья, в отличие от моей бабушки, вдовы врага народа, учились на уроках жизни и всегда работали. Цинга им не грозит. Это фактически о том просто, что о непонимании, о том, что...
У нас разная психология.
Да, просто так невозможно объяснить какие-то вещи. Даже членам собственной семьи, ну, это семья, в которую по мужу была моя семья.
Пересекающийся хвост.
Да, просто невозможно объяснить. Вот вроде она прочитала рассказ, должна была бы понять, но не поняла.
Другая история.
Да, это просто не доходит.
Нет.
Okay, I don't want to tire you by reading the same thing. So, I mean, if you have questions, you can, and then I can read something else. I want to vary things. So I don't read, and I can vary languages and so forth. So you don't get bored. I will read a story from my book. This is usually funny. People think it's fun. This is a bilingual book in English and in Russian. It's like one of these flip-over books. But, you know, I spent several years teaching English in a Muslim... Двуязычная книга. Книга перевертыш. Да, вот тут на английском, а тут на русском. Открываешь тут, все на русском. Открываешь тут, все на английском. Да, потому что мы все bilingual, поэтому важно. Так я прочту, наверное, все это происходило на английском, потому что эта школа была здесь, в Нью-Йорке, разговоры были на английском. Я не знаю. Окей. Некоторые слишком смешные, даже будет неудобно читать.
Ну, давайте смешно прочитайте. С матом,
нет? Нет, не с матом. Я мат не употребляю. Сейчас, секундочку.
А что тогда читаете? Смешно.
Да, но они все смешные, но только я просто не хотела бы, чтобы люди подумали, что это исламофобские, это не исламофобские, просто смешные,
какие?
потому... Ну ладно, я не буду. Это просто смешные, потому что совсем другие, другая культура. У детей в этой мусульманской школе была совсем другая реакция на то, что для нас привычно и обычно. Да? Окей. Я прочту рассказ, как мы учились смотреть на картины. Я говорю ученикам, что сегодня мы... Если читать слишком быстро или слишком медленно, скажите мне, потому что я не хочу...
Нормально.
Хочу, чтобы было интересно, а не скучно. Я говорю ученикам, что сегодня мы будем смотреть на картины известного художника Марка Шагала. Так что картинки, которые мы сейчас увидим, не просто какие-то там картинки в компьютере, а настоящее искусство. Меня прерывает девочка, которую другие дети зовут Гречанкой, из-за того, что ее мама из Греции. «Я замечательный художник!» – восклицает она. Окей. Каждый четверг мы будем смотреть на картины великих художников, говорю я. Картины Марка Шагала любят и взрослые, и дети. Вот почему я выбрала. I can read this in English. In the other side of the book, it's the same story in English. No? Okay. Just say so, because it's the same. Картины Марка Шагала любят и взрослые, и дети. Вот почему я выбрала именно его для нашего первого урока об искусстве. После того, как мы посмотрим на его картины на моем компьютере, вы напишите 7 предложений об одной из его работ. Когда вы закончите писать, я дам каждому из вас набор красок и кисточки. Я показываю ученикам наборы, вот я показываю, акварельных красок, которые я купила для них на собственные деньги. Во второй половине урока вы будете рисовать свои собственные картины. Вовсе не обязательно, чтобы они были похожи на картины, которые мы сейчас увидим на компьютере, но они могут быть вдохновлены ими. Учительница, что такое вдохновлены? Искусство великих художников вдохновляет людей. Даже один взгляд на прекрасную картину может нас вдохновить. Это значит, что нам так понравилась картина, что нам хочется о ней все время думать и, иногда писать свои картины. Это и есть вдохновение. Учительница, можно я возьму эти краски домой? Нет, Аиша, домой их брать нельзя, они останутся здесь, в классе. Но ты можешь попросить своих родителей, чтобы они купили тебе краски. Мои родители говорят, что рисование и живопись харам. Живопись не харам, говорю я твердо, будто я эксперт в том, что харам и что не харам. Харам – это арабское слово, означает запрещено. Искусство не может быть харам. Это я говорю. У каждого... Харам – это слово на арабском. У каждого ребенка должны быть краски дома. Но мои родители... Я решаю не дожидаться, пока девочка нам скажет еще раз о запрете ее родителей на живопись. Урок длится всего 40 минут, и нам надо многое успеть. Я нахожу картины Шагала на моем ноутбуке и зову учеников к учительскому столу. Among the new people, does everyone understand Russian? I can switch.
Who doesn't understand?
I will switch to English.
Yes, switch.
Really, I have the same story. Let me just see what it was. I have the same story. It's a bilingual book. Let me just find it. Yeah, because there is someone who doesn't.
Скажите, у вас эта книжка в одном языке?
У меня еще несколько... Это здесь в одном, да. 81. Okay. So I'll resume reading in English where I stopped in Russian. Look at this painting, I say. So they crowd around my desk, girls complaining about boys pushing them and boys complaining about girls blocking their view. Look at this painting, I say. Oh, 3 girls breathe out together. Superlative, says Miriam, the Greek girl, the girl that they call Greek. What do you see here, I say. I see a woman with white hair, a bird, a blue face, red sky. Why is the sky red, teacher? The artist wanted it to be this way. He painted from his imagination. In our imagination, the sky can be any color. Oh, this is just so superlative, Miriam says. Superlative. A moment later, she adds, I know this word. It was in our vocabulary list. Let's look at more of his paintings, I say. What do you see here? Jewish Museum, Tahina reads slowly. Alarmed, I look at the left side of the screen. Oh, God, how could I not have noticed the words Chagall at the Jewish Museum? Now, I had a lot of trouble in that school later on when I mentioned that Judaism is the religion of the Jews, and then other things. So I don't know, Marina, if you remember that. I was writing about that.
How long did you work there?
I worked 3 years total, but it was only a few days a week, But then there was a whole big scandal because I'll tell you later when we finish the story. And that scandal was actually on the front page of New York Post. I don't know if you remember. You remember that? And anyway, all right. So how could I not have noticed the words Chagall at the Jewish Museum? Now my students will go home and tell their parents that Miss Nina teaches them about Jewish, not even speaking about art, which in some of their families is haram. Now I have to make Tahina forget she ever saw these 2 words, Jewish Museum. Perhaps one day when we have more time and they're a little older, I'll explain to them about, quote, this word isn't quote, Jewish, but not now, not today, and not to this group. The topic is too big and they're too young and won't sit still long enough to understand. Or so I say to myself, just to avoid facing the difficult issue. Chagall was born in Russia, I say, in a city called Vitebsk. He moved to France, where he lived till the end of his life. France? Adel, one of the quiet boys, says, I know France. They speak French there. For some reason, every painting I click on has a man wearing a kippah and talit, the Jewish prayer shawl. I thought I knew Chagall pretty well, and I was aware that he had paintings with Jews in religious attire, but I didn't know there were so many of them. I closed them one after another, hoping that the next one is going to be a typical Chagall painting with a flying cow or a large bouquet of flowers and a woman floating in the sky. But there are more pictures of religious Jews, and but the next one does have a woman. But oh my God, her breasts are uncovered. I note to myself that I have just used the word uncovered in my mind instead of the usual naked. Teaching in the school, I probably think more than I'm aware of about being covered. For a while, I actually wore a hijab in that school for the first 3 months. And then I realized that I have a right not to because I was the employee of the city, not of the school. And I had the right not to. So I was the only woman who was, after 3 months, who wasn't wearing that, I mean, the only woman in the school.
Wig?
Not a wig, no. It's a Muslim school. Wig, Jewish Orthodox women wear wigs. I can't just sit here and think about it. I have to do something about those naked breasts on the picture, on the painting. I cover the screen with my hand and say, haram. How could I have forgotten that many of, if not most, of Chagall's women are naked at the top? I suppose I never looked at his paintings that way, maybe because I was already an adult when I discovered him for myself and did not pay attention to his flying women's naked breasts. Here, I say, when I find a painting without a kippah, without talit, without naked breasts, or any of the other offending details. What do you see here, I say? I see a rooster, a face, and a thing in the back. The thing in the back, I say, is the Eiffel Tower. It was the tallest building in the world until the Twin Towers were built. Oops, another haram topic. I'm not ready to explain to my students what happened to the Twin Towers. These are little children, 8, 9 years old. We talk about art. We don't talk about 9/11. I know about Twin Towers. They were tall like that. Adult points at the ceiling. Now, please go back to your seats and start writing 10 sentences beginning with, I see about this painting, I say. They take their seats with more noise than I wish to hear and start writing. Teacher, I don't know what to write. Oh, wait, and start writing. I'm going to put my laptop here so everyone can see the picture, I say. Now, please start writing. Teacher, I don't know what to write. Just write about what you see. What is this? I point at the painting. A bird. So that is what you write. I see a bird. And what is that, teacher? You must decide what it is for you. Some paintings are like mirrors. Each of us will see something different in it, something that means something just for you or something just for me. They're right. I decide to use the time to straighten up piles of folders. Teacher, I finished. Teacher, is 5 lines okay? I only wrote 5. I don't want to write anymore. Teacher, look, I wrote a lot. Yes, Mahira, I see that you filled up all the lines, but you made huge spaces between words and you only got 2 words per line. That was typical about children, how little children write. So you wrote only 2 sentences while I was expecting 10. Next time, please make smaller spaces between words. Teacher, what are we going to do now? Now, please line up, everyone, I say. Teacher, are we leaving? No, we're not leaving. You wanted to paint. And I promised you that after writing about the painting, you will get to paint. Now, each of you is going to get a paper cup. Here, I'm giving out paper cups. So I give them paper cups. Take one, just one. And you take one for you and one for you. Please don't take 2, boys. You need only 1 to rinse your brushes. Now we're going to walk to the water fountain in line, without pushing, without jumping, without falling. We will fill, if you never worked in a school with little kids, you don't know how hard it is to make them walk in a straight line. So this is typical, like without pushing, without jumping, it's the life of a teacher. Each cup should be half full, not completely full. Only half. Please remember this. Then you will walk back with your cups half filled with water, not pushing anyone and not jumping. It should be even more important at that point when you bring your water back. If you reach the classroom without spilling water, you can start painting. We walk to the water fountain. We walk back. Now I'm watching them paint. It's one of the more pleasant moments of my day, watching children paint. They're completely engrossed in it. No talking, no pushing, no questions beginning with the usual, teacher, why? But I'm wrong about the questions. My hero looks up at me and asks, teacher, which pictures will look at next time? Next Thursday, I say, I will show you paintings by Franz Marc, my favorite artist. Teacher, did he also live in France? No, Franz Marc lived in Germany. Oh, Germany! Oh, I know Germany. He was so lucky he could live in Germany. Germany is a very nice country. I'm a little surprised to hear this assessment of Germany from my young student. Because they say what their parents say, children at that age just echoing their parents. It wasn't always a nice country, I say, just to counter this bit of information she obviously got from her parents. Some 70 years ago, Germany had a very bad leader whose name was Hitler. Under his leadership, Germany invaded many countries and killed millions of innocent people. The girl paints silently. For a second, I wonder what her silence means. Maybe I inadvertently offended a deeply seated belief about Germany. Where did you hear about Germany? I asked her cautiously. My uncle lives there. He loves it. He loves it. He says it's a great country. He can have anything he wants. And what is it that he wants? I say, freedom, money, job, a house. No, he doesn't want money, teacher. Money. He has money. A job then? He wants to keep his job? No, he doesn't need a job. Then what does he do? He doesn't need a job because he can make wonderful pasta. He's a wonderful pasta chef. I see, I say. So your uncle works in a restaurant? No, teacher. He makes wonderful pasta for me. Pasta for me. Is your uncle German? Asks another girl, Aisha. No, he's not German. He's Paki.
He's what?
Paki. It's an offensive word for Pakistan. Why do you say Paki? I say to her softly. Paki is an offensive word for people from South Asia. You don't want to use this kind of word about your own uncle. What's offensive, teacher? Offensive means a bad word. Like when you call someone stupid, that's offensive. Oh, Amil covers his mouth in horror. Teacher, that word is haram. Which word? That word you said. The S word, teacher. S word? Stupid? This word is bad or haram when people say it to hurt someone's feelings. When you say just the way I said it now, it's not bad. It's not haram. You can find it in a dictionary. It's just a word. Bad or not depends on how you use it. My mom says it's haram because Allah doesn't want us to use it. I don't know what Allah wants. Allah, maybe I'm not pronouncing it. How can I know what he wants if I never saw him or spoke to him? You should not use the S word to hurt someone's feelings. S word meaning stupid. To hurt someone's feelings, not because Allah doesn't want you to, but because you yourself do not want to. Teacher, are you a Muslim? This is not about me, Amil. I'm teaching you about how things are in the real world. Teacher, but are you a Muslim? Amil, that's a name. Amil, everyone, please finish your work. I will start collecting paint sets and brushes. But teacher, are you a Muslim? Why do you persist with this question, Amil? I made it very clear that I don't want to answer it. My job is to teach you about the world, not to tell you about my own religious or non-religious beliefs. Now, let's put all your paintings on the table, children. Maria, you're my assistant. Show them where we put the finished pictures. Each person will take their cup of water and bring it back to the water fountain. But, teacher, are you a Muslim? Maria, as my assistant, please make sure I ignore the question. Please make sure that everyone walks in a line and that no one pushes anyone, because if they do, they will spill the water. When they get to the water fountain, they should take turns pouring the water from their paper cups back into the water basin. This is what you should be helping me with, since you're my assistant. Teacher, but are you a Muslim? Now everyone is lined up nicely and we can start walking to the water fountain. Oh, teacher, you're not a Muslim. Amil, we don't talk when we walk in a line outside the classroom. I almost add, it's not haram, but I stop myself in time. No, I should add, it's haram. Oh, I have a typo here. I should correct because it says it's not haram. This is for myself, for the future, if there is another edition. Я записывала эти истории прямо в тот же вечер, когда приходила с работы, потому что я вообще очень не любила всю жизнь ходить на работу. Кстати, в этой школе мне было лучше работать, чем в других. Может быть, Это странно, но там было легче в какой-то степени. Так что дело не в религии. Я вообще не... Потому что я очень не люблю просыпаться рано утром, потому что я ночная совершенно на 200%. Я ложусь около 5 утра. Так что... тогда, когда я ходила на работу, может, около 3 утра ложился. Поэтому мне было очень трудно вставать, поэтому для меня хождение на работу было очень трудно. Но я записывала это прямо в тот же вечер, чтобы я чувствовала, я трачу свое время на хоть что-то будет, хоть какой-то смысл из этого.
А чем кончилось ваше преподавание?
Кончился тем, я могу прочесть рассказ. Это не самый интересный рассказ, не самый смешной, но он объяснит, чем кончилось. Сейчас Вообще там было очень много смешных. Я просто записывала разговоры с детьми, и получался смешной рассказ. Should I read it in English? In English.
In English, yes.
This is not a board of ed, it's a private school.
What?
It's a private school, it's not a board of ed school.
It was a частная
I worked for a special program that sent city teachers to parochial schools. So I was paid by the city, but parochial schools are private schools, but religious private schools. So they're much cheaper than famous expensive like Delta, and those are very expensive. But these are not very expensive, but more expensive than public schools. And actually, children behave much better there, and so I had a pretty good deal anyway. It was better than what usual teachers got. I was lucky anyway, but I just didn't like going to work because I always wanted to write or to paint, One second, I will find. So 1 second, I'll find here. It's called Adam and Eve. So this story is about how the whole thing ended in that school. It's not the funniest story. I have better stories. As a story, it's not so funny, but it will explain how it ended.
Maybe you can make it short.
Yeah. Well, tell me if it's not interesting then I'll make it short, because maybe, I don't know, maybe it's not so uninteresting. I was fired because of a conversation. Actually, I wasn't fired completely. I was just fired from that school, but I still worked for that program. So they just sent me to a Catholic school, and I worked in Catholic schools, in lots of Catholic. They were pretty good. Yeah, because many people have an idea of Catholic schools where teachers, it's not like this. They're quite good. I was fired because of a conversation I had with my third graders. This conversation was not part of a lesson. It occurred spontaneously right after class, and not on the day I was fired, but 3 weeks before the day when one of the supervisors of my city program entered my class without knocking. He entered silently, walked up to my whiteboard. They have whiteboard. Now I don't know what they have, but, because technology changes. But when I worked there were no more blackboard. At first, in the 90s, they still had blackboards. But in the, in this century, they had these whiteboards where you write with a marker, erasable marker. So that's why I say whiteboard. So this man from Board of Ed walked to the whiteboard in front of which I had been standing, handed me a sealed letter, and without a word went back to the door. "What is it?" I asked him. But he only shrugged, saying that he didn't know. He was simply told to bring me the letter, which he did. I immediately ripped open the letter. The letter had only 2 lines, and the one I still remember was a warning that a case has been filed against me, legal case, that I was under investigation, and that until the completion of the investigation, I was forbidden to be physically present on the grounds of any public or parochial school in New York City. Any school, not even my daughter's school. My daughter went to public school. I spent the next week in a so-called rubber room. Rubber room, it's like punishment places for teachers, like teachers who, they were like male teachers who was sent to like who were accused of sexual harassment and so forth. So I was sent to, it wasn't made of rubber, it was just an office where I had to do some boring paperwork, but I was still getting paid. But it's called rubber room, that's teacher's jargon, in which I was to spend my days as punishment for an unspecified crime. I still didn't know the nature of the crime, because a representative of the teachers' union, the only person with whom I had the right to talk on the phone from my place of punishment, refused to tell me what I was being punished for and why I don't have a right to find out. Why am I forbidden not only to come to work to my regular school, but also to enter, even for a second, any New York City school? Although I was told that I had no right to talk to anyone about my case, legal case, except for the teachers' union rep, I disobeyed and called the principal from my place of punishment. Why, I asked, why did you write a report about me to the Board of Education? I did the right thing by calling. Otherwise, I would not have found out that I was being punished for a long forgotten conversation I had with my students about Adam. Adam, like Adam and Eve. That conversation was like an explosion, said the principal. Or perhaps she said it caused an explosion. I don't remember exactly how she phrased it. She said that the morning after the day I had the conversation about Adam with my students, a group of parents waited for the principal at the school entrance, and as soon as they saw her, the parents told her everything they had wanted to tell her about me for some time, as well as everything that a boy with whom I spoke about Adam and Eve told his parents, and his parents in turn told the other parents. But what is it that shocked them so much, I asked. What is it? Just my saying that Adam was not a real person, but a legend, a myth? They said, that's principal speaking, they said that you discussed Jews with the children and showed them pictures of naked people. So I was accused of pornography. That's a very serious crime. I mean, you could go to jail if you're accused.
Haram?
No, haram there, yeah, but even in regular if public school teacher does it, it's a very, very serious crime. But I didn't do that. I mean, what do you think? You'll see what I showed them. Photos of naked people, I say. Do you mean Adam and Eve in the painting of Rubens? And discuss Jews with them? Is this about my telling the students that the myth about Adam and Eve is part of Judaism, not only part of Islam? Is this what you call discussing Jews with them? All I said was that Adam and Eve first were part of Judaism, then it became part of Christianity, and only later they became part of Islam. So is it just because I dared to inform my students of these well-known facts that the Board of Education decided to remove me from teaching? And now the principal speaking. Parents who enroll their kids in our school want them to be educated in a certain way, showing them naked people, even in a famous painting by this, what's his name, is not part of what they want for their kids. But these children, that's me speaking, but these children live in New York. So you would punish a teacher just for telling students that Adam is not a real person, but a story, which is something that most educated people in the whole world already know? You would punish me for that? And for reading to the students a Wikipedia article illustrated by the famous painting by Rubens? Parents of our students were shocked, she says. They were furious. You have to understand that our school is not an ordinary school. We have a special environment. I already understood it. But, actually, for 2.5 years, I wasn't getting into any conflicting situations. But at the end, I was very, very tired, so I thought, what the hell? I will be just telling them how things are, because it's really hard to control yourself every time. So you'll see how that conversation went. So this is the conversation I had with the children. Here's the Adam conversation for which I was fired. All people are born from a woman's belly, right, Miss Nina? Said the girl. Right. This means that we girls are more important than boys, a boy said. But one person was not born from a woman's belly. The girl asked. Which person was that? Adam. It's just a story, I said. It's a story, a myth. It's not real. I mean, anyone would say that, right? Adam is not a story. He is real. Now I speak. The story of Adam and Eve belongs to 3 religions. The first one was Judaism, then Christianity, then Islam. That's not true, Miss Nina. Adam is real. Well, if you want to think so, but it's just a story. If you like, I can show it to you on Wikipedia. Here, I typed Adam and Eve in the search engine. There were several Adam and Eve stories unrelated to my search. Then I saw the Wikipedia article and opened it. And there were naked Adam and Eve in the Fall of Man by Peter Paul Rubens. You know? The famous painting. Oh, naked people! We're not allowed to look at naked people. It's just a painting. It's a famous painting by a great artist, Rubens. And anyway, I closed the screen as soon as I saw it with my hand. But if you don't want to look at it, fine. I'll cover it up. I cover it with my hand. Read what it says here. I read aloud from Wikipedia. Adam and Eve, according to the creation myth of the Abrahamic religions, were the first man and woman and the ancestors of all humans. It provides much of the scriptural basis for the doctrines of the fall of man and the original sin that are important beliefs in Christianity, but which are not generally held in Judaism or Islam. That's not true, Miss Nina. Well, it's up to you, I say, to think that. But it happens to be true. Adam is not a myth, and he's not part of other religions. I say, well, it says here, the Abrahamic religions. Abrahamic religions are Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. I don't believe it. Fine. I don't want to risk losing my job because of Adam and Eve. If you don't want to think that Adam was real, you can continue thinking so. Adam is real. Fine. And what is Judaism, Miss Nina? Judaism is the religion of the Jewish people. Oh. So there seemed to be no end to my punishment. For over 2 months, I have been tormented by boredom, shuffling papers in a disgusting office 2 hours away from home. Those who worked next to me, former teachers punished in the same way, were saying that the punishment could last a year, even 2, because I was accused of showing pornography, you know? That's a very serious accusation, to show pornography to children. You know, Bukovsky was accused of storing pornography, so this is taken very seriously, you know. But all I did was show a Wikipedia article which had an illustration. The painting by Rubens was an illustration of the Wikipedia, and I didn't expect to see that. Anyway, but 2 months were plenty for me. Therefore, I decided to send a brief summary of what happened to journalists. The article appeared on the front page of the New York Post, a newspaper I usually don't read, since I think of it as akin to yellow press. Yet this newspaper, which I didn't read, had millions of readers, and its articles were translated into some 20 languages. This is why the article about my punishment for a simple conversation about Adam appeared in Portuguese, Spanish, Polish, Estonian, and so forth. A lot of nonsense was written about Adam and Eve in the following weeks. In the Spanish newspaper, for example, my conversation with the students was so misinterpreted or simply unintentionally distorted that it wasn't clear what had been said by me and what had been said by my students. And what does the painting of Rubens have to do with a Muslim school or with the punishment? Nevertheless, the noise around the story was becoming louder. Its absurdity was becoming more and more difficult to justify with quotes from available lists of politically correct statements. A few weeks after a half-hour interview with lawyers. I had real lawyers that had to defend me. From the Bureau of Investigation, I got a call from the director of our program who informed me that I was allowed to return to work. But since I didn't want to go back to the Muslim school after everything that had happened, my program agreed to place me in another school. This was how this story finally ended. The only thing I regret is that my work with my students was interrupted and that my attempts to support the sprouts of rationality in their minds went down the drain.
Yeah.
So that's how. And by the way, that article from the New York Post is still on. Unfortunately, I don't want it to be on Google. It's still on Google because I don't want anyone to read about how I worked in a Muslim school.
You know, what is rational for you is irrational for them.
Yeah, I know. But they have to live in this world, right? Or at least we are.
They don't live in this world.
Yeah.
I don't live in this world.
That's true. That's true. Everyone lives in their own world. Yeah.
World, right?
I'll read some poems. I just don't want to bore you. What time is it? I'll read a few poems in Russian and then in English. Oh, good. Вот, я прочту это стихотворение. Коротко. Желтизной подобий в наговор смородин. Здесь невинна память и распутин снег. Чтобы не сгрустнулось, на тебе смородин. Губы, как в помаде, некуда их деть. Как от поцелуев губы от смородин. Только не смывай их, выкупай в снегу. Вот тебе и будя, в чашке ли, в стакане ли, горсть таких смородин ладить на стихи. Только б не остыли ото сна и бреда, липлую гурьбою, ложась на пищи лист. Да что листу до ягод, пусть даже и подобий, сон на сон меняя и губы на стихи. Вот прочту еще одну маленькую. Свеча морочит ночь, понять, где тьма, где лечь, смотреть, что превозмочь, путь к ангелу и прочь. А ангел слышит дверь, крылатый, да поверь, кому пакет потерь, давно уж мертв теперь. А ангел видит тень, и ангелу не лень избавить от потери тень, всю на себя мигрень. Свеча морочит тень, так тьма пророчит день, понять, как превозмочь, путь из ангелов в ночь. Сейчас я прочту одно стихотворение из своей ранней книжки, которая была опубликована в художественной литературе. Вот, совсем короткое стихотворение прочту. Видишь, как солнце прячет, ловко золотыми руками, память о смуглых предках, длинные языческие вазы, тонкие руки солнца, проворные желтые пальцы, чтобы мы ничего не знали о спокойных этрусских лицах, о легком этрусском прахе и о зеркале веков между нами и смертью. I have all these poems in English too, because if I write in Russian, I translate it in English. If I write in English, I translate. So, and sometimes I don't translate. I just write a similar thing in the other language. Not all my stories are based on real life events. I wrote many stories that are kind of parables or fantasy stories. I could read one. It's kind of pretty short, if you don't mind. Or are we running out of time?
Say 10 more.
Okay, I'll read it in English. I have this in this book in Russian, but because we have several people who don't speak Russian, so I'll read this story. It's in this book in Russian, but I'll read it in English. Okay, 1 second. Oh, I'm not sure I have that one. Actually, in English. I was just. Wait. This one, I don't have this one in English right here with me. I mean, I have it at home. So I'll read another one, but. Okay. I'll read another, which is the Russian one is here, and I'll read the English version from my phone. It was published, the English version was published in Ireland, in a magazine in Ireland. And the Russian was published in some Russian magazine, I forgot. Anyway, it's here in this book. Once upon a time, there lived a girl who was so used to being accompanied by her date of birth that she couldn't imagine herself separated from it. For 7 years following her first birthday, the girl and her date of birth were always seen holding hands, and people who knew the girl well were surprised when, on her 8th birthday, they saw the girl walking alone, although, strictly speaking, she was not alone, as her date of birth ran just a little behind her. Everyone got so used to seeing the girl's date of birth running just a little behind her that when the girl turned 15, they were surprised yet again to see her date of birth lagging behind, not just 2 steps away, as it did during the last 7 years, but almost 15 steps away from the girl. The number of steps between the girl and the date of birth grew with each birthday, and when the girl turned 25, her date of birth was lagging 22 or 25 steps away. No one knew for sure, actually behind, 22 or 25 steps behind. No one knew for sure how many, as there was no way to measure the number of steps. When the girl, by now no longer a girl but a woman, of course, was celebrating her 35th birthday, her date of birth was so far behind her that it was no more than a small dark silhouette on the horizon, running, trying to catch up with the girl, that is, the woman. And of course, its efforts were in vain, as there was no way for the date of birth to catch up. 10 years later, when the woman was celebrating her 39th birthday in the new millennium, her date of birth tumbled back into the 20th century where it belonged. And no matter how hard the woman tried to pull it back into the 21st century, so the two of them would stay together, she could not see her date of birth in the darkness of the past millennium. From then on, the separation grew harder for both of them, the woman and the woman's date of birth. When the woman turned 50, she walked to the edge of the world, which was nothing but a precipice that divided the third millennium from the past. And she called out to her date of birth, hoping to hear its voice, even if she could no longer see it. But her date of birth did not respond. The woman spent the next 10 years weaving an unusually strong rope. And when the rope was finally long enough, as well as strong enough, the woman once again came to the so-called edge of the world. She dropped her rope into the darkness and waited. Finally, someone tugged on the rope at the other end, ever so slightly. And although the tug was ever so weak, the woman knew it was her date of birth tugging, for who else would care to catch the other end of her rope? The woman spent the next 20 years standing at the edge of the world, trying to pull her date of birth out of the abyss of the past century. But as every passing year, her date of birth fell deeper and deeper into the past, the woman's task looked quite hopeless, even to the woman herself, who just couldn't quit. And she stood there year after year and pulled with her hands quite sore, so that she couldn't hold the rope anymore. And when she gave up and died at the age of 83, she was finally reunited with her date of birth. So in this book, in the first part, I have stories based on some real, not all of them, but mostly based on some real events, like more or less autobiographical. And in the second part of the book, they are they're more parables, like fantasy stories.